Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's European briefing. In this 20-minute webinar, we'll be having a look and taking an in-depth look at the trading day ahead and see what opportunities may exist. So just before we begin, if we can just draw your attention to our disclaimer, just to familiarize yourself with our disclaimer and just be knowledgeable of the risks involved in trading the financial markets. Yes, we do have a very strong approach to risk management. However, the risks are evident nonetheless. Okay, so just a few pieces of housekeeping then before we begin. Feel free to ask questions at any point throughout. You can locate your chat box on the right-hand side of your screen. Now, for our members, this live webinar is being recorded and will be made available in your members area once the webinar is concluded. And we will, of course, have our Q&A at the end of this live webinar. So what will we actually cover in this webinar? We'll start with a review of potential market moving news for the day. So we want to have a little bit of awareness in terms of what news events could potentially impact some of the trades that we're looking to take. So we'll do that first. Then we'll review previous price actions. So we want to look at daily timeframes and just see basically what happened in yesterday's markets, and that often allows you to effectively develop a trade plan for the day ahead. So we're talking about multi-time frame analysis, understanding the bigger picture, seeing what's going on in the bigger time frames, which will allow you to be objective with regards to trade selection, which is quite important for traders. So let's get in, and we'll start with reviewing the potential market moving news. So what I will do is get up Forex Factory, and as you can see, not an awful lot of news events today. We do, however, have let me just see. So we do, however, have crude oil inventories being released at 3:30. This is a GMT. And the forecast is due to be negative, so that has the potential to add a bit of volatility to the crude oil market. So let's see what numbers printed at that time. And as you can see, not an awful lot of other information. It's important to note, I guess, that it's an Italian bank holiday today. It's Liberation Day in Italy, so it's a bank holiday. So trading volumes may be a little bit lighter, and we do have Governor Pelosi speaking from the Bank of Canada before the Standing Senate Committee on Banking, Trade and Commerce. So probably not of any major consequence, but it's just really, if you are trading the Canadian dollar, you might just want to be aware that the governor of the central bank is speaking at 9:15 p.m. GMT. So as you can see, not an awful lot going on today, but we will keep a close eye on the crude oil inventories at 3:30. And if you're trading the Canadian dollar, you would just be aware that you might experience some volatility at 9:15. Okay, so that's a little review of the news. So let's get straight into the charts. And we'll start, as we always do, with the dollar index. So you can see yesterday's candlestick was very much range bound between these two levels of support resistance, the 90.88 to the upside and the 90.43 to the downside. And as you can see today, we've had a little bit of bullish price action come back in. So this is a significant level, the 90.88, and if we get a break above that, then what that has the potential to do is we can potentially see a breakout of a 4-month range-bound market. So normally that can be quite explosive. So let's see if we get that. So we're going to add this to our watch list, but we're looking for a break, and we're only interested in buying it above the 90.88. So while it's procrastinating under that level, we're going to just back off a little bit. But if we do get a confirmed break above 90.88, then we'll definitely be looking for an opportunity to buy this market. So it's a similar story across the board. The dollar is strengthening against a lot of its major pairs today. After yesterday, we had a little bit of a sort of a bit of bullish price action yesterday, so the market clearly took a bit of a pause, and now we're extending lower. But as far as the euro dollar is concerned, if we don't get a break below the 21.56, then we're going to just apply a little bit of patience in this market. So moving on to the pound dollar. You can see it's the same situation. Yesterday, a bit of bullish price action. Today, a bit of bearish. We kind of want to see this market clear its lows and just make sure that we're not creating a bit of a support of price around this level. So so we're currently rolling over to the downside. So let's see how we get on with this. There is plenty of scope for this market to squeeze further lower, but we kind of do want this market to be trading below these two recent lows. Another market which was very strong yesterday, probably the weakest market yesterday was the yen. But a lot of the yen pairs, they saw a bit of an uncomfortable pullback over the latter part of the day yesterday. And we've since, when we've opened, we've just literally rocketed to the upside. So we're actually going to add this as well to our watch list, but only looking to buy it above yesterday's high, which is 109.19 level. So we're only 4 or 5 pips away from potentially looking for opportunities to buy this market. So we can see this market extending, and again, we have just come off the back of like a 2-3 month sideways moving market, and we're now getting that explosive move to the upside. So we'll add that to our watch list. The dollar CAD, we took profit in this yesterday because we had our take profit just above here. It looks like we're probably going to work towards that now. So yesterday's candlestick was a little bit of indecision. A break beneath the low could have resulted in a little bit of a pullback, but as you can see, we're actually just sort of squeezing higher in this market. So we are likely to run into resistance around here, which is why we're going to just apply a little bit of patience really with this market and see if we get a little bit of a pullback before we take it to the upside once more. Similar kind of situation really regarding the Aussie dollar. We're able to capitalize on this move. Yesterday's candlestick was a bit indecision as well, as it was across the board, and we're seeing continuation to the downside now as well. So we did have our take profit just below these levels, so we are working its way towards those levels, but potential support around the 7500 level, 75.05. So we watch this market closely, and really from an intraday perspective, both of these markets could provide us with an opportunity for a short-term buy in the dollar CAD and a sell in the Aussie dollar. Similar situation for the New Zealand. This is a market that we are still currently in. We are looking for these prices to continue lower, so we are able to see this, which is good. And again, intraday level, we might get an opportunity to sell this market to the downside. So that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to go with the market. We're not looking to buy the lows and see if we can get like a short-term pullback. We're looking to go with the market. So we do expect these prices to continue lower, just for the short term anyway. The euro pound is just procrastinating around this kind of level in here. So we are now back inside the range bound descending channel. So you can see a downward push of prices. There's a series of lower highs at this top level. And we did get a break of this recently, just a week or two ago, but it's kind of reversed back inside that level. So this explosive move becomes a little bit null and void now, because we've had this explosive move back inside and we've retraced all of that good work to the downside. It's not surprising, bearing in mind the geopolitical issues that are going on with the UK, with Brexit and the situation with inflation and also the approach taken by the central bank as well with regards to interest rates. So moving on to the euro yen, we are threatening, like we are going to be pushing higher. We do need to see this market break above yesterday's high. Otherwise, we could provide a little bit of resistance around this level. So this is the euro yen. So we'll just monitor it. It looks like it's gonna continue its procrastination, perhaps. So we'll just keep an eye on this market over the course of the day. It looks like the US equities are threatening, like they're going to sell off a little bit. So the S&P, the Dow Jones, and the Nasdaq are all threatening to push lower. So we'll see how those markets unfold as the day goes by. I suppose not potentially. We're kind of reluctant to jump into them just for the time being because they are so kind of erratic. So we kind of want these markets, especially the global indices, to just settle down a little bit. They're quite jumpy, and we're getting a bit of buying pressure coming in today on the back of what is a bearish engulfing. So ordinarily, a break beneath today's low would constitute an opportunity to sell. But as you can see, we gap up slightly, and there's been a few gaps in these markets where the markets gap up, and just very erratic price action. So we're just a bit uncomfortable with some of these global indice markets. A bit of buying pressure coming in to the DAX, the German, especially after yesterday's candlestick, which is quite bearish. So again, it's not operating in a workable fashion, let's say. So just a little bit of caution is just required at this moment in time regarding the global indices. And just moving on to the gold market, it's kind of in line with the move we're seeing in the dollar. So a break beneath these lows might constitute an interesting opportunity to sell this market down to the 1306. So we're currently at 1324, and this recent low is 1319. So we shall add that to our watch list, and we're looking for an opportunity to sell the gold market, but actually below the 1319 levels. So we have loads of opportunity for this market to be held up at these prices. So it's only if we break these lows and we got a bit of clean air below us, would we be interested in looking to sell this market. So it is again about kind of waiting for the markets to do what we want it to do, rather than sort of making decisions which have a lower probability outcome, like selling now, for example. So it has every opportunity to be held up at these lows. So we want to take that on board, and we want to clear these lows before we look to get into it. So US oil is threatening to push lower. It's quite sort of messy, really. It's no surprise we're getting a bounce off this upper trend line. So we do expect this price to push lower, even if it's only short term. But we will be interested to see what happens with the crude oil inventories out at 330 today. So we'll see if that has an impact on this market or not. And the final market, really, which was a continuation of yesterday, is the expectation for this market to squeeze higher. And it was quite strong up until just a little while ago, and we've just sort of, in the last 15 minutes, we've really just pulled back quite considerably to the downside. So let's see what happens to this market. Looking at it on a daily time frame, a clearly defined break above yesterday's high would constitute an opportunity to push this higher. So we'll add this to our watch list, and it's kind of a continuation of yesterday's yen weakness, is what we're kind of looking for. But I mean, as you can see now, this particular price action is not great, to be fair. So let's see what happens to this market over the course of the the morning, the European Open. Okay, so so we've just identified a few markets, and we'll kind of work back. So if we look at this on a 15-minute time frame, we kind of want to clear these highs to constitute an opportunity to actually buy this market. So we're looking for prices to break above 152.50 basically with conviction. So until that happens, we're quite happy for prices to sit under that level, and we'll just wait patiently for those opportunities to arise. But we're only effectively 30 pips away from breaking those highs and becoming quite a bullish market. So not too far. The next one is crude oil. So we look at it in the smaller term time frame, and you can see the level of consolidation effectively after the significant sell-off. We've just literally moved sideways. What we can see from a technical perspective with this chart, if I just get up my pen, is a number of rejections to the downside now. So we're looking at this bit of price action. We can see it here. It's failed to break lower. It's done it again at this level, and it's threatening like it's doing it again at this level. So we actually have a bit of a floor in this market now. And if we get a break above this high, which is a fairly small range in the oil market, then we're likely to constitute an opportunity for these prices to push higher. Even if we don't sort of take out these highs, we might get a nice little trade-off in this market. So that's the plan of action for us with the crude oil. Let's see if we get a break above the 67.85 level. So there's a couple more markets. So let's have a look at the dollar yen. So we're looking like we're going to be squeezing just above that level. So if we look at it on a smaller time frame, so we do want prices to break above, and we're very, very close. We're only a few pips away from those highs, and then we need to just wait for the setup to occur before we take it to the upside. So we don't necessarily want to be buying the breakout of this high. We want prices to perhaps break above it, pull back to that level if possible, and buy the pullback. So a little bit of patience is required even when we get the setup that we're looking for. And finally, looking at the dollar index, you can see here that we are in the process of breaking these highs, but we do want prices to break above that 90.88 level. We're not too far. We're only 5 pips away from it. And again, when we get that breakout, we kind of want to be able to capture a bit of a pullback in this market. So if prices break above and then pull back to 90.88, we might get a nice opportunity to sell it rather than buying the high of the market as it breaks through that level. So so that's the plan of action. You can see we've got the market behind us. It's bottom left to top right, which is very, very bullish. And we're going to look to try and capitalize on a break above this level with a little bit of a pullback so we can take it higher once more. So that just about concludes. So we've got our watch list. We've got the dollar index, the dollar yen, the gold market to the downside, and also the pound yen. So we've got 4 markets that we'll be looking at very closely over the course of the day. So that's our trade selection as things currently stand. Now, as we're trading these markets, if things change, of course, so can our thinking and our potential opportunities. But that's how things currently stand. So on that note, I'd like to wish you, I hope you have a great day. Do take care. Thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time. From everyone here, take care. Bye for now.